Philadelphia Eagles fans, I don't know about you, but it feels like the foundation of our defense is suddenly under fire as whispers of a potential Jalen Carter trade continue to circulate. Multiple reports suggest Howie Roseman might be listening to offers for the former Georgia standout, potentially seeking a massive haul of first-round picks in return. The stakes here are absolutely massive because moving a talent of Carter's caliber carries the risk of losing a generational playmaker for uncertain draft assets. And honestly, the more details come out, the harder it is to ignore what is going on behind the scenes. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop your name and city in the comments below. Let's get into it. The Philadelphia Eagles are currently at the center of growing speculation regarding the future of defensive standout Jalen Carter. Since joining the team as a high-profile first-round selection out of Georgia, Carter has established himself as a central figure on our defensive front, providing the kind of interior disruption that has made him a fan favorite in Philadelphia. We have watched him evolve from a hype prospect into a player who commands attention every Sunday, which is precisely why the mere mention of a potential trade creates such immediate concern among the fan base. According to recent analysis from Pat Pickens, the conversation surrounding a possible departure is gaining traction, though the reality of what he might fetch on the open market is far from certain. Think about it this way. When looking at recent trades involving superstars like Myles Garrett to the Cleveland Browns, Dexter Lawrence to the Cincinnati Bengals, or Micah Parsons to the Dallas Cowboys, the price of doing business is steep. Pat Pickens suggests that Howie Roseman might be holding out for 2 first-round picks to even consider a move, assuming the team is truly entertaining such a massive shakeup. This uncertainty hits us hard because Jalen Carter is still on his rookie deal, representing the type of young core talent we desperately need to anchor our defense through the 2027 season. The emotional toll of this news is palpable, as fans are left wondering if the front office is genuinely evaluating his long-term fit, or if this is simply the nature of the modern business side of the league. With all this swirling uncertainty, we have to address the most pressing issue. If Howie Roseman is indeed testing the market, what specific internal metrics or performance indicators could actually justify trading away a foundational talent like Carter right now? The most startling reality for us as Philadelphia Eagles fans is that the front office might be actively shopping Jalen Carter to capitalize on his remaining team-controlled years before his inevitable fifth-year option in 2027. This potential pivot stems from a strategic reevaluation of the roster during a season where depth and long-term salary cap flexibility have become the ultimate priorities for Jeffrey Lurie. While we often view these high-ceiling talents as untouchable cornerstones, the harsh reality is that the organization balances his raw upside against the unpredictable nature of career longevity in the trenches. And honestly, the historical precedent for moving on from young defensive talent is far from comforting, as we have seen how difficult it remains to replace that level of disruption once a player hits his stride. Behind closed doors, Nick Sirianni and the front office are likely conducting a cold cost-benefit analysis, weighing whether one dominant individual is more valuable than 2 high-end draft picks that could theoretically solidify multiple weak points across our defensive unit. They are clearly looking at the marketplace through a lens of extreme pragmatism rather than emotional attachment. If Pat Pickens is correct in his assessment, the potential return could mirror major trades involving other league powerhouses. Yet there is zero guarantee that any selection will evolve into the kind of impact player that Carter has shown the ability to be when he is at his best. We have witnessed this team take big swings before, but parting with a player of this caliber demands an almost impossible return to justify the loss. Whether this is just a standard exploratory conversation or a sign of a looming departure, it represents a pivotal juncture for our defense and the aggressive management style we have come to expect from our front office leadership in recent years. The speculation surrounding Jalen Carter puts us at a critical crossroads because we are essentially debating the long-term identity of this defense versus the allure of draft capital. If we move on from such a disruptive presence, the immediate roster impact is significant, as we would be losing a centerpiece on his rookie deal, forcing the front office to scramble to fill a gaping void on the interior defensive line. Our salary cap flexibility would shift drastically, potentially opening up space but sacrificing the high ceiling production that anchors our pressure packages. The bottom line here is that trading a player of this caliber directly impacts our upcoming defensive assignments, specifically against run-heavy opponents who rely on interior stability to move the chains. Without Carter clogging the middle, our linebackers become more exposed, which complicates our game planning for vital division clashes against Dallas and New York. If we cannot replicate that pressure, our playoff path becomes much steeper because we lose the ability to dictate terms at the line of scrimmage against better offensive lines. This isn't just about trading a name, it is about risking our standing as a top-tier contender for theoretical picks that might never yield equivalent results. We have watched enough football over the decades to know that proven talent is rare and often worth more than the mystery of a draft choice. Holding on to a star player provides a level of certainty that is desperately needed during a long, grueling season where injuries often dictate our fortunes. While Pat Pickens notes that Howie Roseman could command significant value, the gamble remains whether any package of picks can truly replace the impact of a former Georgia star. As fans, we must weigh whether the future promise is enough to justify shaking up the foundation of our defense right now. If the Philadelphia Eagles chose to trade Jalen Carter, the primary upside would be an unprecedented influx of draft capital that could restock our roster for years to come. By securing 2 first-round picks, the front office could aggressively target multiple positions of need with high-ceiling prospects who are also on affordable rookie contracts. However, the obvious downside remains the sheer difficulty of replacing a rare defensive talent who possesses such a unique blend of size and explosive power. Even if we land those valuable assets, there is never a guarantee that a new draft pick will produce at the level of the former Georgia star. Here's the thing nobody wants to say. Trading away a proven game-changing force is a gamble that often leaves teams searching for answers for seasons on end. According to Pat Pickens, recent league-wide trades for stars like Myles Garrett, Dexter Lawrence, and Micah Parsons suggest that while the return could be substantial, the market might not yield as much as fans expect. Seeing names like Myles Garrett, Dexter Lawrence, and Micah Parsons tied to this conversation really puts the astronomical price tag of a true defensive anchor into perspective. My honest take here is that while the temptation to hoard draft picks is understandable for any organization, parting ways with a player of his caliber feels like overthinking a position of strength. While analysts are currently floating the idea that we could fetch 2 first-rounders, I suspect that expectation might be slightly overblown given how rarely teams part with elite youth. If Howie Roseman decides to hold out for that specific package, we might be waiting a long time before any team actually pulls the trigger. For now, the smartest path forward is likely keeping our cornerstone player and building around his dominant presence rather than chasing a theoretical haul of draft picks. As we look toward the future under the guidance of Jeffrey Lurie and Nick Sirianni, this Jalen Carter situation represents a pivotal crossroads for our organization regarding long-term team-building strategy. If Howie Roseman opts to trade a talent of this caliber, it signals a massive shift toward accumulating draft capital rather than relying on current roster anchors. We must consider if the potential return of 2 first-round picks actually outweighs the impact of a proven game-changer, especially when draft prospects are far from guaranteed successes. And the more I look at this, it becomes clear that we should feel a sense of cautious patience rather than panic as we approach the start of this season. While the trade rumors involving the Cleveland Browns, New York Giants, and Dallas Cowboys are certainly unsettling to digest, we have to trust the front office to weigh these heavy decisions with a clear eye on our championship window. The reality is that sustaining success requires balancing high-value assets with the stability of our established core personnel. We are invested in winning now, and moving on from a player as talented as Carter carries as much risk as it does potential reward for our depth chart. It is a complex landscape to navigate, and the uncertainty surrounding these reports is likely to persist throughout the year. Based on the analysis provided by Pat Pickens regarding the market values for elite defensive talent, do you believe Howie Roseman should hold out for 2 first-round picks, or is that price tag too high to realistically expect in a trade for Jalen Carter? If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Fly, Eagles, fly. I'll see you in the next one.